Okay, let me ask you something. In a world that is just buzzing with notifications, dings, and endless social media feeds, does your ability to actually focus feel like it's constantly under attack? If you're nodding along, you are definitely not alone. Today, we are diving into a truly game-changing book by Cal Newport called Deep Work. We're going to figure out why focus has become the single most valuable skill in the 21st century, and, more importantly, how you can get it back.
So let's just get right to it. Newport's big argument is that we are living in an age of distraction. I mean, it's no secret, right? The modern world has basically become a massive battleground for our attention. And let's be honest, most of us are losing that battle. The real enemy here isn't just the notifications themselves. It's the fact that they've completely shattered our ability to concentrate on any one thing for a meaningful amount of time.
I want you to really think about this for a second. When was the last time you worked for a solid 90 minutes with zero distractions? I mean, no phone checks, no quick email glances, no, I'll just look this one thing up. Just 90 minutes of pure, uninterrupted focus on one important task. For most of us, that sounds less like a workday and more like a fantasy, doesn't it?
And look, this isn't just a feeling we have. The data is pretty shocking. A huge study by McKinsey found that the average knowledge worker, that's probably you, spends 60% of their week on just two things: managing electronic communication and searching the internet. Think about that for a second. That's more than half of our precious work time spent on busy work, not on the deep, creative problem-solving that we're actually supposed to be paid for.
So how do we start to fight back against this? Well, Newport gives us a really powerful and simple framework. He says that pretty much every task we do falls into one of two buckets. He calls them the two modes of modern work.
So here it is, the core idea. On one side, you've got deep work. This is when you're in the zone, totally focused, no distractions, and you're pushing your brain to its limits. Think writing a complex report or learning a new skill. Then on the other side, you've got shallow work. This is all the logistical stuff, answering routine emails, scheduling meetings, you know the drill. It feels productive, but it doesn't require much brain power and anyone could do it. And here's the kicker. Our economy is starting to reward deep work immensely, while shallow work is getting easier and easier to automate.
You know, this isn't some brand new idea. The legendary psychiatrist Carl Jung felt so overwhelmed by the distractions of his busy life that he did something pretty extreme. He built a literal stone tower in the middle of the woods to be his personal deep work sanctuary. He'd go there for weeks at a time for nothing but intense, focused thinking. He knew, even way back then, that to produce brilliant work, you have to create an environment for brilliant focus.
And it's not just historical figures. The famous sci-fi author Neal Stephenson is notoriously hard to get a hold of. Why? Because he avoids things like email and social media like the plague. He knows a very simple truth. Fragmented time produces fragmented thoughts. So his whole life is built around protecting these big, long blocks of uninterrupted time, because that's the only way he can write the incredible novels he's known for.
Okay, so this all sounds great, but what's the actual payoff? I mean, does prioritizing this kind of focus really make a difference in the real world? Oh yeah. And to prove it, Newport tells the incredible story of a guy named Jason Ben.
So meet Jason. He had a perfectly fine job as a financial consultant, making about $40,000 a year. But one day he had this absolutely terrifying realization. His main skill, messing around with spreadsheets, could be completely automated. A simple computer script could do his job. In his own words, he realized his skills were not valuable. Ouch.
So what did he do? Something drastic. He quit his job, he moved back home with his parents, and he locked himself in a room for 2 solid months with no computer, get this, just textbooks and note cards. His only goal was to master computer programming, a genuinely hard skill. He forced himself into a state of pure, deep work, basically retraining his brain to concentrate intensely. And it worked. He crushed a super difficult coding bootcamp and finished at the top of his class.
And the payoff for all that brutal, intense focus? Well, in just 6 months, Jason went from being a replaceable $40,000 a year analyst to a sought-after developer in Silicon Valley, making $100,000 a year. He more than doubled his salary just by mastering a hard skill through deep work. Now that is what you call a return on investment.
See, Jason's story is the perfect illustration of the two abilities Newport says are absolutely essential to thrive today. Number one, the ability to learn complicated things fast. And number two, the ability to take what you've learned and produce work at an elite level. And guess what? Both of those are completely impossible without mastering the skill of deep work. Okay, so by now you're probably convinced. But I can hear you asking, how in the world am I supposed to fit this into my already crazy life? Well, the good news is, Newport says there's no single right way to do it. Instead, he lays out 4 different approaches so you can find a rhythm that actually works for you.
And it's all about finding what fits your life. You could go full monastic and basically become a hermit, cutting out all shallow work. Or you could be bimodal, like Carl Jung, where you split your time, maybe a few days for deep work and a few for everything else. For most of us, though, the rhythmic approach is probably the most practical. You just make deep work a simple daily habit, like going to the gym. And finally, if your schedule is just a mess, there's the journalistic approach where you just snatch deep work sessions whenever you find a free hour. The point isn't to be perfect, it's to be intentional.
All right, ready to get started? Let's talk about a few practical habits you can start building today. Think of this as your deep work starter kit for taking back your focus.
So a few places to start. First, try scheduling your entire day. When every minute has a job, you're less likely to just drift into shallow tasks. Next, and this is a big one, embrace boredom. Don't immediately grab your phone in every free moment. Letting your mind wander is like weight training for your focus muscle. Also, try to make yourself a little harder to reach. It protects your time. And finally, this is crucial, have a shutdown ritual at the end of the day. When work is done, it's done. This lets your brain actually rest so it's ready for deep thinking tomorrow.
So I'll just leave you with this one question to think about. If you could actually cultivate this superpower of deep work, what amazing thing could you create? What hard problem could you finally solve? What valuable new skill could you master? Seriously, what could you do with uninterrupted focus?